Okay, welcome back. We are continuing on with Unit 4, starting with factors that influence feelings and attitudes about death. Some of the things that can affect people's attitudes is their previous experience with death. If they have had a traumatic loss in their life, they're going to respond a little different than somebody who has never lost anyone close to them. Their personality type, their religious beliefs, their cultural background. You should always honor that whenever possible. Customs may include burying personal items with the body. Even in the United States, some want to be buried in a coffin and some prefer cremation. Attitudes about death change over adulthood. This is true. You're really going to think different about death when you're still raising kids because you're worried about, what's going to happen to my kids. You would think different about it when you're 85 years old would be a different scenario. So they do change over adulthood. What do you think is the number one fear older people express about dying? Everyone fears of dying alone. These are some signs of approaching death. The cyanotic, which is the blueness of the skin, pale darkening of the mucous membranes. Skin would be cold, skin that looks bruised or mottled, heavy perspiration, fever, and heavy perspiration is another reason why we would change the sheets in the gown often. Fever, their blood pressure drops as their pulse increases. You'll have the Cheyne-Stokes breathing, which remember I said was slow, irregular breaths followed by fast, shallow breaths. Gurgling, rattling sound when breathing, difficulty swallowing, decreased appetite and sense of thirst, dry mouth, that's why we do frequent oral care, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, extreme weakness or exhaustion, decreased sense of touch, loss of feeling that usually begins in their legs and feet. They lose muscle tone. One of the telltale signs is when their jaw starts to fall and their mouth just kind of hangs open. Inability to speak, dilated pupils and staring eyes, loss of vision, and they maybe have urinary and fecal incontinence, another reason to check them often and change them often. Decreased urinary output, a lot of times that's what we'll tell. Some have a catheter, some don't, but you can see maybe on an 8-hour shift, they may have only put out like 100 ml of urine or something like that, or 50. And it gets really dark. This means their kidneys are shutting down. Some may have hallucinations, extreme drowsiness, disorientation or confusion, and loss of hearing, which is the last sense to go. As death nears, the sensation of pain may decrease. As they are more dehydrated, they have less sense of pain. Signs of death, or someone who is dead, has no pulse, no respiration, no blood pressure. The jaw is just dropped. Eyelids are partially open. They have a fixed stare. They may still have urinary and fecal incontinence after they've passed, and their eyes will be fixed and have dilated pupils. And then the nurse would come in and confirm death. The body after death, rigor mortis, the stiffness that occurs after death due to the biochemical change that causes muscles to become rigid, so they get stiff. And this usually takes place 2 to 4 hours after a death. Helping family deal with death, allow family time to show feelings, listen, let them talk, being silent is okay. Let them know their family member was valued by the staff. Avoid cliches like this will pass, it's for the best. Honor requests for spiritual leader or clergyman person. Families may wish to stay with the body for a while, or some may not. Allow them time to do so. I know I had a family member that asked, why would I want to spend time with them? They're dead. But most often they do want to say their goodbyes and be in there with them for a little bit altogether. Post-mortem care, you're going to position the body in good alignment on the back with the legs straight and the fold arms across the chest. Like I said, rigor mortis usually begins 2 to 4 hours after death, so you want to lay them in a position that, if they're going to have open casket, that would look presentable in the casket. If you're doing post-mortem care, which CNAs do, the equipment you need are 2 pairs of gloves, drainage pads, sheets, clean gown, washcloths, wash basin with warm water, mild soap, and a towel. Turn off oxygen suction equipment if directed by nurse. Gently close the resident's eyes, close the mouth, and place a rolled towel under the chin. Gently bathe, gently brush or comb hair, cover body with a sheet, just to the shoulders, do not cover their face. Put on a clean gown, position body in proper alignment, arms across abdomen again, and rigor mortis sets in 2 to 4 hours. This is cleaning them up to have them presentable for the family too. Advance directives are legal documents that allow people to decide what kind of medical care they wish to have in the event that they're unable to make the decisions for themselves. The Patient Self-Determination Act, or PSDA, is a federal law that was originally passed in 1990. It requires facilities to give adults during admission or enrollment information regarding their rights related to advance directives. So this is when you go in and register at the front office at the hospital, that they ask you if you have a living will, because they're required to because of this law. A living will is a document that outlines the medical care a person wants or does not want if he or she becomes unable to make those decisions. The example may specify that certain measures, like a ventilator, are to be taken or withheld if the resident is in a coma. So this is the person themselves saying what they want to happen, okay, before it actually happens, advanced, right? It is different from a last will and testament, which is, Bobby Sue's going to get my prize goldfish and stuff like that. So living will has to do with end-of-life decisions. Another advance directive is the durable power of attorney for healthcare, sometimes referred to as the healthcare proxy. It's signed, dated, and witnessed. It is a signed, dated, and witnessed legal document that appoints someone to make the medical decisions for a person in the event he or she becomes unable to do so. So hopefully, if the person had a living will, the person who they decide to be their healthcare proxy would be aware of what their wishes are and make those decisions for them when they can no longer do that. Advance directives, DNR stands for Do Not Resuscitate. This is an order that instructs medical professionals not to perform CPR in the event of cardiac or respiratory arrest. So when somebody is admitted to the hospital, they may say, I have a living attorney, power of attorney, or a living will. And at that point, if it says that they wish to be a DNR, then the doctor would write an order for them to be a DNR. So it's important for you guys to know who is a DNR at your facility, because you don't want to do CPR on somebody that it's their wishes not to have it. An advance directive can be changed or canceled at any time, either in writing, orally, or both. So at that very last minute, and they decide they want a ventilator, and they had said in the past they didn't, then that verbal, if they're able to tell you that, then it's legitimate. And that's it.